Happy Friday and welcome to Seekers Speak, which is our live chat. So, welcome to the Seeking Heaven, the Near Death Experience, and Other Phenomena channel. So, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, make comments. I do try to answer them all. I even answered a guy back in Germany. I do use translators. So I do try to respond to everyone. So thank you for being here. And if you want to be a part of my online soul community, also check out my membership perks starting at $2.99 all the way up to $24.99. What a deal, right? And the one that's a love leader, which is the $24.99, you get me once a month. And we do a 90-minute spiritual session with a group which I call my love leaders, which they're phenomenal. They're very bright spiritual leaders themselves, authors. It's fantastic. So welcome. And we made it to Friday and we have a super guest for you. This is something that's just, the divine timing. It just worked out. And I'm so happy. So our guest today was something that we actually kind of arranged things and moved our guest in today, Adam Teipel, that I met through another friend, Carl. And so I'm so thrilled to meet him. I want to tell you a little bit about him, and then he's going to tell you about his spiritual journey, some projects he's working on, including that's how he, found me. We'll talk about it. He's going to have a mediumship, Awaken the Medium Within, which is down below. If you want to be a part of it, it's free. This is his first spiritual conference. This is not his first spiritual rodeo by any means, he's going to tell you, but this is just his first one. He's very excited and passionate about it. So check that out. And I will be talking that afternoon from 3 to 5. We don't know when. He's got a pretty packed schedule of different people. So let me tell you a little bit about Adam. He had a near-death experience, a car accident when he was 5 years old. It was pretty horrific. And he's going to talk about that and what he learned from that, as well as how he got into the healing industry. And he actually toured as a senior healer and teacher for Dr. Eric Pearl, who wrote The Reconnection. So he's going to tell you about that. So he's used to doing this all around the world globally. And he is a lovely person. So let me bring him on and say hello.
Hey, hi. How's it going?
It's going. It's Friday. I'm like,
Happy Friday. I'm so happy.
Yeah. So happy Friday. So it's funny, the people that watch, my channel and so forth, they are, I call them truth seekers because they're really into learning about spiritual truths. And so many of these, they read all the time. Like me, I'm the same way, but which makes sense. Like attracts like, right? But I'm sure they're so tickled and want to hear your story. But tell everybody, I mentioned that Carl, he's a medium I had trained with Tony Stockwell a few years back, and he's a friend. But tell them real quick before we start a little bit about this passion effort about this spiritual conference that you're having, that you were so kind to also invite me to and invite others to.
Sure, I'd love to. So, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Next Friday is going to be a lot of fun. So it's really a passion project of mine that I've wanted to do for many, many years. Yet I was walking in two different worlds and very, very busy. And I believe with the whole pandemic, it allowed me to have some time to reflect and go, what's really important? What's happening in the world? So I look back and I've traveled all over the world for over 20 years. And while I was all over the world, I would meet these phenomenal mediums, psychics, intuitives, healers, and people that were masters in their own craft. And so I always wanted to put together a series of talks or mastery series. And so I came up with Masters, Mediums, Mystics. And it's just more of an idea of how do we explore the master, medium, and mystic within each one of us. So next Friday will be the first of multiple series. I'll be having the Awaken the Medium Within. And that's going to be starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I think the link is below here. And so when they click on the link, it'll take them to a registration page. You register, and then it'll be a meeting that'll be all day from 9 a.m. through, depending on, we have people still confirming that they're going to be joining us. So it could go to 6 p.m. Pacific time as well. And I'll be doing short, I'm talking real interviews with mediums, with researchers for NDE, with people that have had near-death experiences. And I'm talking people that have had them like you have, more than one, and have lived to come back and tell about what their experience was. So we're going to explore what really happens when we die and transition, or what happens during a near-death experience from the research. We'll talk about what we're here to do as humans, as far as to develop our intuitive and psychic and mediumship abilities. So it's really a dive down into that, and where we get to ask some really intimate questions. And, I started because I've been in contact with Carl, who's a dear friend of both of ours.
Yes.
And Carl and I took some mediumship courses as well. And
Oh, I
along
didn't know
with
that.
taking them with Tony, and I just kept in contact, and we knew we were always going to do something down the road. And so when this came up, I reached out to him. I reached out to a dear friend, Suzanne Northrup, who's another phenomenal medium.
Right.
And they were like, well, hey, you got to talk to this person, this person, this person. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it was a beautiful, if you will, catalyst to find all these wonderful mediums and near-death experiencers and the researchers behind it all. And so it's been a really neat collaboration. I couldn't be happier with the group that's coming together. And with such interest, I'm probably going to have another Awaken the Medium down the road.
Sure. Well, you're probably going to have a lot of things. And I think that what I really saw that what you were doing was genuine and passionate. I know that you are now embracing your mediumship, and that's when, you asked me. So that, and I'm fine. We have a time slot. So 3 to 5, you're trying to work it all out with all your global people. I understand that. And so, but yeah, I mean, you really seem to be sincere about this, and that's what got me interested. I thought, well, let me tell others, because I try to promote a spiritual community. This is not a world anymore where we live in a bubble alone, or just about us. And here's the thing. Everybody, God made the God, he, she, source of all, made everyone unique. And so we all have our special gifts, and I think how wonderful it is if we can share those with each other, and us being the gift, and share that. So I'm glad that we were able to work this out so people could know about this program. And sometimes you just got to trust in life. I have several people watching. For example, like David Such, he wrote thanks for getting the water bottle. I have this new groovy logo. I'm doing it. This is me pitching. I'm trying to work better at promoting. Okay. Promoting. And so, yeah, I got some really cool ones coming out, but he has a book, and it's called, God Took My Clothes. And it's fantastic. He has over 700 NDErs that he's researched. So you should have him do something. He's really interesting to hear speak. I'll send you the link where we're talking, but he is really interesting. But anyway, there's other people that are watching you, Adam, that want to start their own things and do their own, whatever that is. And so you're a role model.
Oh,
So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, that's one thing I will say. You're right. And I'll have to ditto that. Hey, Susan, I will ditto that. Being at home in the isolation and all, whatever it is, I'm a busybody, and I'm used to doing these shows on stage and traveling. I couldn't do it, but this has opened up a whole doorway of opportunity, but also meeting just incredible people that I would have never known. That I just really actually care about people all over the globe. I have friends all over the world now that I absolutely just adore.
It's so great to have that connection with people. And what I've learned, and when we talk about the name of the company I started, which is Energy Healthcare Connection, that was the whole thing. I see that it is one of the fastest growing fields out there is energy healthcare, right? So I believe mediumship has a big part in that, because so many people need to heal from the loss, the grief from loss of their loved ones. And so mediumship, in my opinion, is a huge part of energy healthcare. And I really want to promote that to people.
Got it. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, look, I know people want to hear a little bit about your story and your journey, and I'm curious too. So how did you become this wonderful person? I mean, how did this happen? I mean, what were you like before your NDE? Did it change you? Just jump in where you feel like your story starts.
Great question. So thank you. I think I'm a decent person because of my parenting, actually.
Oh,
parents are great, right?
That's nice. What, your parents?
Cool.
Your parents? Is that what
My
you're
parents, yes, my parents,
that is very
you
sweet
know.
to show them homage. It's very sweet.
Well, so I'll tell you, my near death experience happened when I was 5 years old, and this is funny. This will be the first larger format that I'm actually talking about it in. So thank you for bringing this out in me. I've spoken about it in some of the trainings and the seminars that I've taught, and just with friends and family. But I kind of just brushed it, away under the carpet because it happened when I was so young. But to kind of highlight that, because I realized that now that I'm talking to all these near-death experience researchers, they're telling me, "Oh, well, you're this kind of an angel," and I'm like, "Whoa, trust me, I'm not an angel." But I will tell you, it's starting to click to me on some levels as to why I started maybe having some of the experiences I had, along with facilitating the healing work. So when I was 5 years old, it was Father's Day, 5 years old. I was born in May, so I was only 5 for about 2 weeks. And I decided I was going to go get into my mom and dad's van that was parked at my aunt's house. I got in there, got in the sliding door on the side, put it in gear, and it started rolling backwards. They came running after me, and I had gotten thrown into the back seat. My aunt, they were trying to get me out. I rolled underneath the tire of one of those big old Ford vans. And as I ran under, the tire ran over me. It ran across my chest, broke all the ribs in my rib cage, collapsed both of my lungs, broke this collarbone, and ripped this ear off of my head.
Oh my
And all I remember from the time that happened, because you go into shock, right? When you have a traumatic experience like that, especially being 5. I remember lying there in my aunt's living room where the paramedics had come, and they were cutting off my favorite purple Izod, because I remember opening my eyes and I only saw that. Don't ask me why I remember the
I'm
purple Izod.
laughing, not this happened. I'm laughing like you remembered that during all of this. I mean, I'm like, okay.
It's the things we remember, right? And then I remember opening my eyes and going, "Mom, I can't see." And then, boom, that's all I really remember about any of the experience whatsoever at all. And what's fascinating about it is the next like conscious recollection I have was me in a wheelchair, my head fully bandaged up. I don't remember how many days later it was because I was in massively intensive surgery. My parents were told that I probably wasn't going to make it. And imagine the emotion of that on Father's Day. I mean, horrible for them. So
Sure.
I remember being wheeled down the hallway in this little kids, the little wheelchairs, and just kind of something clicked. I saw some kind of a doorway or something that was in the hospital. And then they took me to the children's recovery ward where I was doing some therapies. Now, I can tell you what I don't remember is much of my life before that. Which,
Interesting.
yeah, I've tried to
Okay.
put it together. I remember little glimpses, but if I try to tell you what happened at this age of 3, 4, 2, I don't remember. Now, after that, I started having, if you will, I want to call them remembrances and maybe dreams where now, as I understand it, when you're from birth to 5, if you have a near-death experience, apparently a lot of those of us that have them or had them don't really remember them well until later on. So it wasn't really
Common. Yeah,
very
absolutely.
common.
Much later on.
Yeah. And so mine was my late teens. I had in school, I studied as a minor parapsychology and hypnosis, and I was put under in hypnosis, and boom, that entire memory came back to me about the accident. So
When was that again?
that was back in college, back in the 90s.
Okay. So how much of it came out? Did it just open the door a little bit, or how much came out?
So it opened the entirety of the memory. And what I remembered in there was that I remember looking down upon my body as if I was in the operating room lights. And remember looking down upon my body, and there was blood all over the place, and they were putting things into my body, like, cutting and all this, but it was very neutral, very neutral. There was not a feeling of fear. There was no feeling there really wasn't a feeling. It was just an observation of more than anything. And then as the doctor said something to a nurse, and the nurse turned and started going this way, and I just kind of floated above and followed her. And as she went down the hallway, she went through those big operating doors that open up,
Right.
and I was right above her. And as she walked down the hallway, she turned and went into another room. And as she turned and went into that other room, boom, that was it. So I didn't have this grandiose, I went to the other side, God talked to me, I came back.
Mhm.
I was more out of my body, experienced that,
Right.
like touching, seeing everything that was going on around me, but also had no fear about it. And I always discounted it, like, nah, that didn't really happen. That, didn't happen. But everyone's like, no, you should really tell that story. And I said, but that doesn't sound as glamorous as everyone else's near-death experiences. So I guess it kind of woke it back up in me after the hypnotic release. And not too far after that, I became interested in healing work. It was always part of my passion after this. And I don't know why. It was just how I've been wired, always interested in the spirituality of things. And so that kind of spawned me into healing work. And, I believe it's kind of like a dance, right? We find something and we go, oh, well, that's what my calling is. That's what is of interest to me.
Right.
So I used to be trained professional athletes in Dallas, and I would have a trade out with a massage therapist. She'd do massage on me, and then I would train her. Well, she would always do this energy work on me every week or every time I had a massage. So it'd be 5 or 10 minutes of this, 5 or 10 minutes of that. And one day she came in and I said, okay, I called it her crazy crap of the week, right? Like I didn't care. I never felt anything. And then one day she came in and I had these sensations all over my body. I felt like I was being held down. I felt other people touching me, and it was reconnective healing. And so from that reconnective healing experience, I had to have more, because even though I had that experience at 5, I was raised diehard Catholic to the point where I was in all guys Catholic school from 7th through 12th grade. I was in campus ministry. I was in the choir. I was doing missionary work, and I was very seriously considering becoming a priest. So to have that type of an experience of feeling people that weren't in the room touching me and then all of this stuff happening was very strange for a good old Catholic boy, right, from the Midwest. So that's kind of what started my healing journey with reconnective healing. And then I've been blessed to have traveled as one of the main instructors for over 18 years with the global teaching team and travel all over the world. And I hear about NDEs. People would tell me about them. And then as I facilitate healing work on people, they go, oh my gosh, this happened, this happened. So that was really what happened. Now, I would love to say, sure, I can go back and attribute it to my near-death experience. But I think it's a collection, a tapestry of things that happens to us in life that open little doorways. And I believe that as I was doing the healing work that I still facilitate, one day, I remember it as if it happened yesterday. I was facilitating some work on one of my clients, and all of a sudden everything just went quiet. And this female's voice started talking in my head. And then I kept hearing this word, Emily, Emily, Emily. And then audibly in my right ear, which was strange to me because I'd never have heard anything in my left ear, but it's always been in my right ear. So I'm like, wait a minute, that was the ear in the accident that happened when I was 5. So I never quite put that together until much later. So from this one, if I would call it the one day that it all blasted through me, from that day on, every one of my clients started having not only the healing work that I was doing, but their dead loved ones started talking to me, and they were having healings from the grief, from the messages that I was giving to them from their loved ones, just like you see with your clients, where just receiving that message of love from the other side, it allows something to open up inside of them and recognize that, we're here in these bodies and they're set free and they're always with us. They're never going to go away. And
it's true.
It's just such a beautiful thing. And, it's a difference between you and I understand death differently than most people do. And we understand it as a beautiful rite of passage, because I believe we're all here in this cocoon of a body. And when we leave, it's when the butterfly wings open up and we transition.
That's so pretty. That should almost be made into a children's cartoon. They really help kids under. No, I mean, not saying it's cartoony, but to make kids understand at an
Yeah.
early age. And so many times adults don't understand. And this is a topic that keeps coming up because when you hear the word death, but I don't think of it. I think of it as a transition because, as you
Exactly.
know, when you witness being outside of your body, you
Hmm.
realized you're not your body. Okay, so you knew that, but that's what so many. I mean, the near-death experience, experiencers that talk about that. I mean, it can be anywhere from being outside of your body in the hospital room, roaming around, looking at stuff. I did that. I looked around. I was very curious what people were doing. I was looking around everywhere, trying to help people. Oh, he needs more water. Yeah, I mean, I really was looking at the candy machine because I was 5. But um, yeah, but you're still aware, you're still there. And then there's
Yeah.
different states. But as you know, through meditation or anytime that when you do spiritual work, whether it be your own practice with meditation, through healing, through mediumship, through whatever it may be, through sound therapy, whatever it is, that you have to get into a state of surrender, appreciation,
Hmm.
gratitude, no matter how many skills, no matter how much training, and to be able to get in that vibration of love, and to be able
Yes.
to ride that energetic love wave of helping another human being. But when you were talking about the relatives that show up, I've had many of healer friends say the same thing, like, I saw the husband sitting in the chair while I was working on the wife, and I didn't know whether I should say anything, or the instruction. But I think it's the way I look at it is this: it's always been there. It's like now I'm
Yeah.
starting to see UFOs. They've always been there.
Yeah.
So what's changed? Me. Did
Exactly.
I'm more aware of these things, maybe because I've had a few UFO guests and I've had a few DNA activations, but now I'm aware. That's what's changed. So where the spirit people are always around, yes, but you're honoring that more now. So, and they love when you recognize them because then they like talking to you. And then they never, once that door's open, they never stop. That's why I tell people, look, I mean, this is just my personal thing here. If you are not ready to open that door, right? Because once it's open, it never closes. Then don't do it
Yeah.
because it's open forever. And then they want to talk to you all the time. And you have to have mastery over that and control it. But I'm fine with that. I enjoy spirit people, I enjoy regular people. Talk all through my sleep half the time and I wake up exhausted. I don't know what all I'm doing. But
Yeah.
coming back to tell us, how did you? So the NDE, people don't always understand that it continues to unfold in life and different facets of understanding, not even
Yeah.
with your own full conscious awareness. Do you think that that was part of the after effect, that seeing these spirit people? Did you see them as a kid and get rid of it? Or I mean, I'm thinking you probably just didn't necessarily just all see them right now. You probably had glimpses.
I did have glimpses along the way growing up. I never really I guess I'm wired a little different. I never really bought into a lot of it because I guess of the way I was brought up. I mean, I had experiences where phenomena occurred with me, and we lived in a haunted house. There was a
Oh, tell us about
century
that.
home, and we would hear the noises all the time, clunking around.
Really?
And
Hmm.
my dad would try at times, even though we tell the story about a haunted house. Oh, it's just the pipes clunking, but when you can travel upstairs and downstairs, people, the spirits that leave an impression places, and there's many different
Yeah,
schools of thought on this.
sure.
I believe when what's happening is wherever we're at, our loved ones that have transitioned and are on the other side are in an energetic state or space or expanse.
Right.
And they're trying to contact us. And I think part of it is that maybe some of us that have walked into that other world partially, and I mean, when I say walk into it, I mean, like I tiptoed into it, right? Because it was near death. I
Mhm.
was in a severe accident, gonna die. I left my body, had this experience. And maybe it's because I opened the doorway during that experience
Mhm.
unintentionally, but we all have the ability. I think
Mhm.
some people come onto this planet like a with certain endowments, like a professional athlete. Some people are more, prone to becoming an
More
athlete,
gifted. Mm-hmm.
but we all still have to develop that. It's like a muscle, right? And
Yeah.
so I do believe that near-death experience opens something in me, but I also believe that it lay dormant or latent for a long time because of my upbringing and my perception. And then I believe throughout the healing work blew all of those circuits back open because it was a vibrational shift. And the more I facilitate healing work, the more it would come through. And so I can tell you that, it's kind of like having a candle at a Christmas vigil. When you take one candle and you light the other one, your candle doesn't go out. This one becomes lit, and then that one can pass it on and pass it on and pass
Yes.
it on. And so then the more candles that are lit, the brighter the area gets, which is kind of like when we facilitate healing work, these other people, boom, their intuition pops open. They start having connections with their loved ones and all that. I mean, outside of the messages we bring through. So
Right.
I believe that each of these things is a spiritually transformative experience
No,
for everybody.
no, absolutely. And I think it's gaining awareness that
Yes.
this is all within us already. And
Yes.
so, I don't, here's the thing. I think that, look, we've all come from somewhere. We either all had a religion or no religion. Okay.
Right.
But it doesn't change the fact we're spirit. We've gone through this process and this metamorphosis a lot,
Mhm.
like eternally. We can't stop creation. So we've been around, we've done this a few times. So it's not like we don't know this. But there is, I mean, I did, I will say there was a freedom to being spirit. And it's funny, the same conversation came up yesterday. Uh, that there's things that you can do that when you were in a human form that you can't do in a spirit form. And I think that we should
Yeah.
appreciate that while we're here, like, drive a race car or certain things. I mean, they do stuff on the other side, but in the realm that we are, or there's just certain things that we can do. But what's great is that we can also do the spiritual things too. That's
Yeah.
why when I've had, some people may call them ghosts or spirits, I'm not talking about your family, the people I usually talk to, but
Right.
to a place and they're still looking for the gold, and it's not
Yeah.
a residual type deal. Um, and sometimes they'll get a little ugly. I always get, hey, guess what? I'm spirit too, and I have a body and I can do more than you can. So you need to back off. And they're like, wow, this one's sassy. Okay, never mind. So, it's funny, but I don't see spirit any different than people. I just treat
Yeah.
them the same as I would a person. I try to be respectful. So you're having this conference with different mediums and so forth. What have you um, learned talking to the different mediums? Are you seeing there's different styles, there's different
Oh,
attitudes toward? Okay, yeah, I like
yeah.
to hear
So
that. Yeah, because I know many people watching are, uh, well, they're almost experts in themselves about studying about the afterlife. So, what
yeah.
do you feel about this area of mediumship uh, and I'm speaking like professionals. People do it
Professionals.
professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, how do you feel they differ?
So let me, I'm going to answer that kind of a different way.
Sure.
First, I want to explain why I'm doing this. And you made a comment about be careful because once that door opens and once you start tuning into your abilities, they don't go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that. And I also believe we can control it. We can shut it down. We can say, okay, no, not now, not here. And what happened to me was I shut it down for a different reason, which would be a long story here, but I shut it down because I was so overwhelmed with it. And it was happening in not only my healing sessions, but in my business transactions where I'd negotiate multi-million dollar contracts. And their dead loved ones would come in and start talking to me. And I'm like, wait, I'm not in the session. I don't want this information here. Okay, fine. If it's going to help me with the contract, great. But I also realized along the way we have a responsibility when we have this ability and we've developed it. We have a responsibility. And that responsibility is that we have to be in integrity. I have had readings from psychics and from mediums that I walk away and I'm just depressed. I'm
I
like,
have
wait
I
a
have
minute.
to. I
And,
have to. Oh
oh,
my God. Yes, I did. I have.
it's the worst feeling in the world. And then, and you go, wait a minute. If they tell you something negative, I believe there's an ability for some people to go out and self-manifest that negative message. I will tell you that I never once had anything negative ever in any of the readings or the messages that came through for people during a
Right.
healing session or not. Not one time was a negativity
Right.
in there.
Well, I don't either. Well, like attracts like. And so,
Yeah.
but there may be, other people that do. I always tell people, just keep your portal clean,
Yes.
be about love, divine love, be kind, and you got no worries. If you start doing weird stuff, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I could list the weird stuff that people have said. I said, wow, that's very inventive. I did really okay. And one that was trying to pull things out of mirrors. I had one that was trying to attach things to balls. I said, how many little metal balls do you have? 150. Don't be doing weird stuff and you're fine. I mean, oh my God.
What's the
Well,
point?
I have heard the craziest stuff, but it's the same thing as if you were going to go to, I don't know, you wanted to go out for the evening and you decided to go to the roughest side of town
Yeah.
where the roughest, I don't know, crack bar was, and you're upset because there's some bad people in there. I mean, you know what I mean? You just think good intentions, and it has to do with like attracts like
Yeah.
and being in that state of love and not and what you speak forth. I only work with people that have good intentions and or spirits too. And so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I get. But I did have a crappy reading one time. My husband and I were in Florida at Universal Horror Nights. He goes, "Don't do it." I said, we had a couple margaritas, and they had a stand of pancakes for mediums, and I was like, and I paid my $50 or whatever for what was it, 15 minutes. And she said that, this is all the no-nos you're not supposed to do. That my life was wasted, that I'm a martyr, I'm married to the wrong person, and that I'm going to die. These are things, I was like, left crying. This is horrible. We left the night. It was just ruined. No, no, and no, and no again. You're supposed to encourage people, right? Not, I was sobbing. I was so sad.
I believe we have a responsibility. And when a real message comes through, it's not about doom and gloom. It's about people that live in fear, lack, and limitation are not the people you want to go to. We need to surround ourselves with people that live in a vibration of love and abundance, right? And prosperity. And when we recognize that that's our God-given right for being here, that we need to recognize that it's our birthright. And so when we walk in that, we can also access more of it. And when our loved ones transition over to the other side, they're free. And they're really, most of the messages that come back are of confirmation that they're still there, confirmation that they're okay, especially if they left in a tragic way or were in pain when they left. And the other confirmation is that these people are still loved and they'll see them again. So, I mean, how much more of a loving message can you bring to somebody? And if you walk in that vibration and allow those higher octaves to come through, it just expands your understanding of life and transition and death. It's just a beautiful thing. So I believe that, there are people out there, they call them ambulance chasers. And those are the people that put the ads out going, I'll heal this, I'll do that. And then there's the others that are like, this is about balance. This is about positivity. Yeah. We're here in, having a human experience. We're all going to die eventually, right? We're going to leave these bodies. So it's a matter of, are we open enough at this time to realize that the veil's lifting for all of us? Sure. And we all have this ability. Tamara, I believe a lot of people are like, oh, it's a gift. It's a gift that, I can't develop. No. It is an ability that we all have. It is an ability and we can develop it. And it's just, if you want to focus on it or not. Now, by virtue of mine, when it came out all of a sudden, I had no clue. It just hit me one day. Now, granted, I believe I had been practicing because I was dancing in the frequencies of the healing work during sessions for many years. And then boom, one day it just said, hey, we're opening the door, coming back in, and this person needs to hear this message. And then every other spirit was like, ha, 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 there's an antenna. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to speak through this loudmouth guy. Yeah. So,
They know who you are, by the way. They
Yeah.
know who I am. What's really cool is my grandmother lines up stuff who like meets your people over there. I'm serious. I wish I could
Yeah.
make this up. Meets your people, and then we think, oh, then this great. And she lines up. She was like that in life. So, but I don't know how they do that. They also work out like dating situations for people. I don't know how they do that. I mean, they connect, they bring people together in a way like, maybe I should go over there, whether it's a song on the radio, they gently push. They can interact in a certain, more than a message. I have found that the messages that come through generally are, don't really want to talk about myself. Okay.
Yeah.
And you like, I'll play along because I know I was trained in the British evidential style. So they're like, oh, I'll play along. And they're like, okay, I'm so tall. I look great or great. Okay, hurry up, hurry up. Yeah, I had a poodle. Okay, what? Okay, let's get to the message. So, but they don't want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about, because they're at peace, they want to talk about the person. And they want to either, it's a message of love. It's always a message of love.
Yeah.
But they love you. They're okay. And sometimes it's an apology.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I see now how I was, and I'm so sorry, or this kind of thing. But they're never really, I haven't, there's bigger personalities, but they don't really care that much about talking about themselves. They're like, it's kind of like talking about a movie you've seen, 100 times. You're like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So they're more interested in the person that they love that's in front of them. And I think that how can this not be a part of who we are, because we are spirit? Isn't that a funny thing? Or, mediumship's bad. And I have some questions here for you I want to get answered. But if mediumship's bad, okay, basically spirits. And if you're if you're in tune to that and you're a spirit, it seems kind of natural. So that's just me. Now I do have a question from Clay. It's a really good question. I like it. Okay, let me get it back up. Here you go. Clay wants to know if you're still a practicing Catholic, and how have you integrated what you know now to be true with your faith? That's a good question.
So that's a great question. And thank you for asking it, Clay. Clay, I practice Catholicism in the vein of, I am probably more of a holiday Catholic now, and unfortunately. but so what happened in the transition is I realized that I love all religion. I do, but I am not a religious person anymore. I love the original foundation of all religion and where it came from. I love Jesus. I love all of the spirituality around religion. I would still say to my daughter, when she asks me, what religion are you? I would say, I was raised Catholic. I agree with a lot of it. I resonate, I was a Marianist Catholic, so I resonate with Mary, and I feel a strong connection with her as well. Yet I don't discount any other religion, because I also resonate with Buddhism and Judaism and all of that. So I'm a practicing spirit of all walks of faith and belief. And I believe Jesus was one of the masters that walked the planet and is also the Son of God. So I practice a lot of different faith, and I love all of them. Right. So I hope that answers.
It does. And I think that's just, I think part of what happens, what you're talking about, becoming more spiritual, is that you begin to see the holiness in different people's belief systems. Do they all have dogma in it? Probably. Okay. They probably do. But like, I'm not Catholic. I didn't grow up Catholic, but I appreciate certain aspects, how they have discipline, like 3 o'clock, I'm going to do this. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And I've had Mother Mary showed up a few times. I did a group reading and she showed up. I took a nap afterwards. I'm like, Mother Mary. And she gave me a message. And I was like, I know that was funny because I'm not Catholic, but I've had Yogananda come through. I've had all sorts of people. And here's another thing that comes up, and this is just, we're just having fun here. Fun is allowed. It's Friday. We can definitely have fun. But I've heard, celebrities won't come through unless you're related to them. Not true. I've had a lot of celebrities come through in readings for people, and this is what's cool. Like if someone's studying someone, if someone is in love with the Beatles, guess who's going to come through? George Harrison has come through so many times. Because if you're admiring them and studying their work, they're like, gee, thanks.
Right.
So it's a love flow.
It is. It is a love flow. I love that. And I'm really good at going down rabbit holes. So I didn't really answer your exact question from earlier. So I do want to kind of come full circle for the people out there that are very
Okay.
critical minded going, he never answered the question. So trust me, I know I'm a Gemini. I get it. I can circle back. So what happened to me was I shut it down, and I shut it down to a point because I felt like I might have been doing something wrong. And
Oh,
that's a different story.
terrible.
And then
Yeah.
when I went back a few months later, after I stopped doing sessions for a while, it was gone. And I had to find my way back. And part of finding my way back was reaching out to some of the mediums that will be on the show, the live virtual training next Friday. And then another part of it was that I realized that I was shown the ability that all of us could have. Because I remember way back when looking on TV at the mediums on TV going, wait a minute, I have that. I also have this medical intuition. I know I have all of this, but that's not what I teach in the healing work that I teach. So I was having this conflict, and it was my human conflict that I needed to move through. Once I moved through it, I recognized I know now that we can all have this ability. And I took different seminars from Tony, from Suzanne. And when I was there, boom, it came back in full force. Like
I bet
it was
you.
like, whoa. And so it was really
Yeah.
neat.
It's
And
good for
so,
your own soul too,
oh,
because you get messages and then it's just beautiful. I mean,
yeah.
you don't just give, you get back things too when you do these classes.
Yes, exactly. And so for me, I don't put a shingle out and say I'm a medium. And many people tell me, well, you should. Okay, maybe one day, but that's not where I'm at right now. I teach and I facilitate healing sessions, and that's what is in my heart. And yes,
Mhm.
sometimes people get messages, and I'll give it to them. I will, because I'm not going to filter anything that the universe is going to bring through.
I totally agree. I don't filter it. And I don't mean like in, sometimes they tell me things that's uncomfortable. I wouldn't
Yeah,
it's never what would be considered bad, but
right.
uncomfortable. And when I tell the person, they think it's funny or that it didn't bother them. So, but it just I don't know, maybe I'm a little shy sometimes, but they always seem to like it. They go, "Yeah." Uh,
Tamara, you're not a little shy.
oh, okay. Well, sometimes. Well, okay, I'll tell you this one. There was a mother. Okay, this is hysterical. Okay, so we're going to have some fun. So a mother came through. This, two mediums were talking now, and so a mother was coming through, and it was identifying that it's her and whatever, and she's talking, and I said, yeah. She said that, and then she started going into the message, and she said, started talking about. I said, why are you telling me this? And she needed to go to the gynecologist, and I'm like, oh my God, I am so not going to be talking about this. And I was arguing. And so finally I said, your mom said you got to go. It's been so and so long. And the woman started crying and she got so excited and she was like laughing. She goes, oh, she always set up all my gynecologists. First of all, I'm thinking, okay, you're 30 freaking 9 years old. Why aren't you doing this? I'm going, this is weird. Okay, whatever. Okay, glad you're happy. I'm like, that was her. She was like, oh my God, there's no doubt it's her. And I was like, okay,
Yeah,
well, that's just terrific. So that's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
no, I'm not. No. So I've had a couple of those that I do, but it
yeah.
always ends up really well. There now, part of that religious statement, and so forth, and what I tell people, I say, don't drop your religion if you have a religion. Just kind
Right.
of, take the part, whether if it's the part you love, the God part, the Jesus part, or the Mother Mary part, whatever, hold on to that. But then put everything else on ice and just look and explore because we're not supposed to have a spirit of fear and just look. If you
Yeah,
want to look at other religions, bring Jesus with you. I mean, if you feel better,
yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get in trouble. I think that fear is not founded most of the time. It is just not founded. And I think we should have a more adventurous take on spirituality.
I love it. There's a meme I always see out there that's a picture of Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and the title of it says, we're all just walking each other home.
Oh,
I
yeah. Well, look, I got
love
all
it.
the cups. That's a great opportunity for a plug. Oh, I got my
Did I
Look,
just plug it really well?
I've got Jesus there. I've got like aliens on the front and Saint Germain. So, and the Brotherhood of the Light.
Oh,
You
I
know,
love
you
it.
never know where this is going to take you.
I
You
love it.
just
You don't.
never know. I started
You
out
don't.
channeling Jesus and now I'm channeling ET. So, hey, you know, I'm not
Okay,
kidding.
I'm not.
It's
I
same
can promise
membership.
you,
So,
I'm
I
not
don't
doing
know.
that. And if I was standing in a room and an ET ran in, I would be the first person out that door. Sorry.
You know what? But what about if you were the ET too?
Yeah, right.
You're going,
So
you know, it's funny. I said, I wanted to know ancestry, what my family was. I didn't really think it might be all that. But what I'm saying is that it has to do with a sense of adventure and not
yeah,
when you judge things, you put yourself in a box. I'm not saying judge like discernment. Yeah, if someone's, you know, yeah, keep that in place.
yeah.
But in terms I think that we need to stretch ourselves a little bit. And I think
I,
that our own fear and dogma keeps ourself, not anybody else,
yeah.
keeps us in a box. And I think that if we had a different look about that it could be very joyful. Because as you know, that it can be joyful getting messages even in training, not
It
just
can't.
giving them.
Yo, it's amazing getting them as well. And so I think your key point was judgment. And I think to me, I knew that other people were having these experiences that I was having. And I knew people were frustrated because I trained tens of thousands of people all over the planet. And we would have these conversations that we're having about different things that are happening in them, the phenomena, the spiritual experiences, the transformation. And I just found a resonating theme that everyone was on the same path. And so I knew one day I was going to have to put something together like this event where I brought people like yourself together that are actual practicing professional mediums that are doing this not only for a living and stay in your professional craft in your field and facilitate sessions, whether it be individual, group, galleries, stage, and also teaching people how to start accessing that awareness more. And that's the whole point in the beginning of next Friday is, and it just happened to weave in near-death experiences, which is like even more fun for me. So
Sure.
I'm so excited because I think we're at a time on the planet as well in our evolutionary phase, if you will, where we're starting to see the world differently. Everybody, the people that you would not even expect are going, wait a minute, I'm having this experience. Like, how do they talk to you? You see the messages or that little hummingbird comes to the window and that was their symbol. They don't always, and I'm not trying to say anything about needing mediums. I think mediums play a huge role to get the clarity and the depth and the evidential. And it's nice to get the message from somebody outside of yourself.
Right.
And at the same time, I know every one of the mediums that I talk to that's a professional medium like yourself, you're all in the integrity of saying, hey, yes, you can come to me because this is what I do all day long. I'm in this field. But I also want you to know that you can access this yourself too. And I'm going to show you how. And it's little recipes, right? We get little recipes.
There are little recipes. And
Yeah.
there's little things, it's funny if you really ask someone, which I've done, most people are contacted. They're usually through their
Yeah.
dreams,
Yeah.
And why? Because we're relaxed. They can come in meditations. We get messages for ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't need to, it is kind of nice every now and then when a medium says, oh, so-and-so wants to mention the so-and-so. That's kind of nice. But yeah, we get them ourselves. So I think it's just connecting to who we are. And then, as far as like with, me, I also channel. So I'm going to these Akashic level records. So
Yeah.
it starts out with mediumship. And I don't know who I'm going to get. Yogananda, Sadhguru, I don't know who I'm going to get. I don't know who's going to, but their guides will show up, but they'll do it because I'm an evidential medium. They do it with evidence now.
Yes.
Is that cool? They'll go blah, blah, blah. When you went to the so-and-so, you were at the, when you were here at the temple and did that, and you were thinking, and I was there, and they're like, oh my God, nobody knows that. So they give evidence that is them, because once you go down this road of evidence, which we need that, we ask for signs. We're looking for signs. I ask for signs. I get them. I ask for them.
Yeah. So, it's funny. You asked me a question before when we were talking about this event, and it had to do with electrical things? Like, did you ever experience electrical phenomena,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
was that
NDE after effects.
in the after effects? And I would say that I do experience that. And especially when I started out as a healer, it would happen. Like, I can't wear watches. I wear bands. Watches
Okay.
die. It just
Me
doesn't work
too.
for me. They all die. Electronics
Mhm.
die. But yes, like, been in places where the lights change, and then the electrical phenomena is seeing 333 on the
Do you get that one a lot? I get that one a lot.
well, that's also part of the work that I do with the reconnections 333. So I get that a lot.
Oh, I get that
But
a lot
people get
too.
1111 and
Yeah.
444. But when you see this,
Mhm.
it's, what are these things saying to us?
Right.
And I and it's electrical because you're seeing it on a digital clock, or you're seeing this happen or that happen, or the lights flicker. And so yeah, that does happen. And I think those are times where we need to calm down and listen
Right.
and just slow
Oh.
down.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of times people will go, "Oh my god, I've got" I've had those clients, "Oh my god, I'm in a poltergeist," and you know what? I'm like, "It is you. It is
Yeah.
you doing these things." Oh my god. But I think it's cool when it happens.
Yeah.
There was a lady I talked to, and I said, "There's something about your grandfather said likes to play a joke on you'll sit down to eat, but then your fork's back on the counter." And she goes, "Yeah." And I think it's amazing because that's advertation. And then the
Yeah.
keys, I'm like, "Oh, that is so freaking cool," where you can just manifest like this just shows up in another room, or I just think that's the coolest thing. So I get excited when I see different stuff like that. I'm like,
I
"Oh, that's
love it.
so cool." So look, there's a couple questions here I wanted to go over.
Okay.
First one, Kelly, and then we'll go back to the conference. I mean, there's so much, and it's not like we can't do this again. Okay, so Kelly wants to know, how do you drop I guess it's the religious paradigms. I gave a couple suggestions as you're moving forward and not to have fear, but to just, what do you recommend?
I, that's such a good question. And I think it's the hardest thing for a lot of people. I feel that recognizing that we are the light, that we walk in the light, that no matter what somebody's perspective or what paradigm comes at us, you're still part of the light. You came from the light, you will always be the light. And I think that's what's so important. And that's part of this how to in the world. I'm going to be exploring awakening the masters within, awakening the mystic within, awakening the medium within. And those are the types of questions, Kelly, that I want to explore. How, I know how I did in my own life, which is a greater conversation than we have time for here. But I
Mhm.
want to talk to those other experts that are allowing people to do
Right.
that, and sharing with them how they drop the paradigms.
It's true because you do. And we all, like I said, whether you have no religion or
Yeah.
some religion, I didn't come from a very necessarily religious. My grandmother talked about Jesus, but I that's the only thing I knew, but I did not come from anything religious. But it doesn't have anything to do with it. I always tell people I'm just on team God.
Team God. There you go.
It's a lot going on, different, different. Really, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot. So I don't really, uh, um, I don't myself personally like to stay behind too much of the constraints of what other people want to tell me what to believe.
Yeah.
I would rather just be a living proof of God's love um, through Him working through me,
I
and
love
we
that.
are and we are the light. We are, and that light does have it has healing properties, and recognizing that, and just it's not just I've noticed it's not just our words that we say, or mediums. The words is that we're working with divine energy, the ones the professional, the higher level. You're working with the divine, like the healers, right? That
Yeah.
actually professionally that are working with the divine. So it's not just the words that are coming through, which that's on one level, but you're also working with that energy, which can be healing. I mean, people can leave a medium event and be healed. I had a lady
Yes.
come in, she was left, she goes, "I don't have cancer anymore." And it took me a while to figure that out, but I opened this huge portal, this God love portal, and anything's possible. It's,
Yeah.
anything, why not? So I'm with you. The more that we can support and encourage people to love their own spirit, and to know that whether it's
Yeah.
here or the other side, it's all about the love, it's all about relationships, it's all about caring for one another. At the
Yes.
end of the day, it's not about checking off how many things you've done. It is about the relationships and
Yeah.
the love.
Tamara, can I give? I just thought of something. You know how these things come to
Yeah.
you. So
Sure.
there's one concept that we share when we teach the seminars. And while I was on stage many times, I'd use this and we'd hear it, we resonate with it. You know, religion and paradigm is like a window,
Okay.
right? So imagine a big house and you go to the front of the house and you look through this window and you're looking through it. And that's Christianity or
Mhm.
this paradigm, right? And then you go to the other room and you look out that side window over here. You're going to see a different part of the yard, a different part of maybe different trees out there, but that's a different
Yes.
paradigm or
Yes.
perspective or religious experience. And then you go to the back of the house, you're going to have the other. But if you go upstairs and you look out that front window again or the side window, you're going to have a
Yeah.
different perspective of that same view, but you're seeing it differently. But what happens if you go up to the roof, the top, and you go to the top of that roof and you get onto it and you drop the window because you don't need to look through it. You don't go up to the roof with the window and go like this and keep looking out it, right?
Right.
You drop the window and you get a 360-degree view of everything and you get to see the expanse of all of it. So I think that's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
I love talking in terms of that. So I hope that
Yeah.
helps people.
Oh, I think so, and I think that it's opening your mind to what it what it is. I think your soul knows when it's ready to go to the next level. So just the way that I look at, to me, it's very natural. I'm spirit, you're spirit. Right now, we have these, this vessel. It changes. Next one is going to be taller and Brazilian. It's like a new sports car. So yeah, that's the cool things. What was it? Dr. Raymond Moody goes, I'm tired of this model. I'm ready for a new one. I'm kind of bored talking about him. I thought that was so funny. I saw him in an interview. And then
I love it.
And then Adriana says, heaven is a realm with many planets. Yeah, that's true.
Amen.
Solar systems, there's all sorts of stuff going on, things we can't even imagine. Absolutely true. And some Howard Storm, who's a near-death experiencer, talked about the different, he said, I want to know about it. And he was shown these different things. So, the world's big. Let's see. Yeah. Talking about people amplifying your mediumship and the energy that's around you. Oh, it's sweet. So that's
Oh,
like her battery. Yeah, mediums can be batteries for one another for sure, Elizabeth. Yeah, absolutely. I know that was it. John of God would carry all these mediums with him when he would do healing work. Of course, I was sad when I heard in the news he did all that stuff. I was like, oh, tell me it's not true,
yeah,
because I was, I know he's human too. But anyway, he would carry these mediums with him and to be an amplifies a battery. And that's one
yeah.
thing that I've noticed that when I've done in the past mediumship conferences, generally that you get high the whole time because you're batteries to one another.
I agree. It's like you're supercharging, and it's an entrainment. You're entraining to the highest level together, and you're bringing the vibration up together. I love that. We have a lot of work to do on this planet.
A lot of work. And imagine if we could get together the same type of frequency, there's no reason we couldn't heal certain pockets of the world
Yeah.
globally. I mean, even the environment, not just people. I mean, we are living on Mother Earth. That's important too. So all of this matters. So it's not just about necessarily mediumship. To me, it's a huge topic. It's about owning who we are in our own spirit, right?
I agree. Absolutely.
And then we've got a thing from David Such that says any religion is only a partial glimpse into eternal truth, and none of us can have more than a partial glimpse. That's not Chief Rabbi David Rosen. That's good. That's a good one. Well, tell us a little bit more about this conference. I've got here how people can sign up. Let me put this down below here. And I'm excited about it too.
Oh, me too. We're going to have quite a few mediums. So I'm going to be we'll be hosting it. I'll have a co-host, a friend of mine, Case Parks, who has a very phenomenal YouTube channel as well. So he's going to be co-hosting some of it with me. And then we'll have Diane Willis she's the president of the Chicago Ions.
Yes.
And had a near-death experience. We have Dr. Yvonne Kason, who's part of the Spiritual Awakenings International.
Yes. Yeah, I serve with her on the board. Yeah, she's very knowledgeable about NDEs and STs.
Yes,
You got her. Good. Okay.
We've got Carl Seaver, who's your friend of mine. He's a phenomenal evidential medium and psychic. I've actually put on shows down here in Encinitas, California for Carl, and he's coming. He's an amazing medium. I love his work. Suzanne Northrup, who's a dear friend of mine, and Suzanne's been doing this for 40 years plus now. She's what, like the consummate in professional medium. And I just love this woman. She was my mentor on a lot of this when I was trying to figure out what was going on, and guided me. You, Tamara, you're on there. We need to have you, the Southern Belle medium. I love it. We've got PMH Atwater. And so she's got the largest collection of near-death experience data that has ever been collected in the world. So she's going to talk about some of that data.
Oh, yes. Wow. I thought it was Dr. Jeffrey Long, but either way, they're both amazing. I've been following her because she's really an expert also in childhood NDEr. So
yes, and she's the one that told me about what I was, and I was like, I don't like that name. No. But and then we have Mr. Paul Jacobs, and I'm sure you've heard of Paul.
Yeah.
And Paul is, I had a chance to have a Zoom conference with him. He is one of those no BS, down to earth, cut to the chase. Here's the evidential facts medium. And I'm just tickled because it's such like you said, there's differences in how everybody delivers their messages. Yeah. And it's going to be great for anyone that attends, whether you show up in the beginning and stay the whole time, or you drop in here and there. But I'd love for everyone to come in. It's kind of like an online live training for a full day. You're going to learn how to tune in and learn about NDEs and how your deceased ones are trying to talk to you, and maybe how you can develop your own attunement to become a medium yourself. So this is going to be so much fun. I hope we do a lot more of them.
Oh, I think you will. So now when they sign up, they register, then they'll be set and they'll have a link to go to this, correct?
Yes. So they'll sign up. It'll take you to a registration page first, and then you register. You just give your name and email address, and it takes you to another page that'll show you the details about it. And, just to be ready, set your calendar. We'll email you later on a link to the Zoom all day long live event summit webinar, and that's it.
And then I want to thank you for, first of all, inviting me to speak as a guest that day, but also you said, Tamara, I was like, can you give us some kind of like little fun freebie something? So now I'm like, luckily I just bought a whole program system for classes and all this. I bought the whole thing. So yes, I am going to do something on channeling. So you can,
I love it.
It'll be an hour, 90 minutes free on channeling. I'll have it all prepared and ready. And so it's going to be fun. And then, and of course, after that, if people want to take that further in channeling and what's involved in automatic writing, then I can show them, because people can talk to their loved ones, but they can also gain universal data.
I love that.
About what they need. Yeah. Are we supposed to know everything? No. And do variations change based on certain circumstances? Sure, they do. They don't say their emotion, but you can still get, it does help to get some kind of guidance, and it is from that realm. So I will be offering that for people. Well, look, you have been fantastic. I'm excited about you coming out about this as a medium, and there'll be more there. I mean, because that takes a lot of courage. People don't realize that, to say the word, I'm a medium, and to talk to other mediums. And it is interesting looking at different medium style, even once evidential, that spirit works through all of us differently. Like mine's more of a conversation, and they go, oh my God. And they start realizing like you're, and that mine's, so they don't even know they're being read a lot of times, but people are all different. Some people are boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
They're all, spirit works with, which is beautiful to watch.
It's so fun to watch.
It is to watch the different styles using the same professional technique. It's very different. So, Adam, you've been fantastic. Thank you for your time. I know we've gone a couple minutes over. Guys, sign up. Join us for next Friday. We're going to have a blast, and support me and support Adam, and have a terrific weekend. And I will see you next week, not only at Adam's thing on Friday, but Thursday. Stay tuned. Wednesday is Thursday, and Friday I'll be having, but your thing will be over by then. I'm having Sharon Millman, who is a multiple near-death experiencer, and who is lightning balls 3 times.
Whew.
Is that crazy? And she was indoors and it found her still. I'm like, whoa. So she's going to talk about that and spirit guides. It's a two-parter because it's so much. So stay tuned for that next week, Thursday at 5 and Friday at 6. It's going to be a good one. NDEs and STEs. So, and she's also a Jesus experiencer like me that saw them, but she's seen him in person here too, like me. So it's going to
I
be
love it.
interesting. Well, look, thank you, Adam, so much. I'll see you next week, and I'll see you guys next week too. And have
Thank you.
a good one.
Appreciate
Take
it.
care. Bye.